Hello everyone, thanks for coming outside today. We're going back to the Average Jack Archery roots today, and we are using a little cheap handy cam and a little cheap tripod. And I'm out here at my local 3D course, which is West Branch Sportsman's Club here in Morrisdale, PA. Not too far from my house, a little bit of a poke, but it's nice to be down here. We're on the 4th target here. I just shot a 31-yard antelope. I'm doing really well by numbers so far, although I'm only 4 into the 30 targets in. But very excited to have you come along with me today. I want to talk about using thumbs and hinge releases for hunting, or just using them for a 3D course like this. You notice I'm using my index style, my Scott Ghost right now. I'm getting ready for hunting season. I've got the Kure out here. I'm shooting my hunting arrows, and I'm aiming for hunting specific shots. So we'll talk about all these things today. I'm excited to have you come around. Let's go to target number 5. All right, so here we are, target number 5. We have a black bear. I'm gonna say he's definitely in the flavor of 30. I do not do well with bears. They're a solid color animal, and I deliberately did not bring binoculars today because I'm not looking for scoring rings. I'm looking to aim correctly on the animal. I'm trying to range this bear before I go ahead and take a crack at it with a thumb button style release. So let's talk about thumbs and hinges here real quick. Index style release obviously goes with an index finger, and it's activated that way. Thumb button is activated with the thumb. This is a Scott Pursuit. I am not a thumb button guy, although I will say this Scott Pursuit, with the adjustment of the thumb barrel and how crisp the trigger is, I actually really like it. I can shoot it a lot more like a 3-finger hinge than I do shoot it as a thumb button. But before I shoot it, let's see if I can figure out this bear. I'm gonna say, I usually underjudge these. I'm thinking 30, I'm gonna say 32. 31, okay, so I'm not that bad. Not that bad. I got a couple of people shooting around me as well, so let's take a shot here, 31 with this thumb button. Now the peep is not going to be set up right because this thumb is not set for this bow at the peep height. Not too bad. How you doing, sir? Completely ignore my camera. Freaking inside out 11. All right, so that actually ended up being an inside out 11 there on my first shot. My second shot was a 10. I placed it in a little bit different position. This is something if your 3D course will let you do. They will let you shoot more than one arrow at a target. You know, it's pretty slow today. It's towards the end of the day. So I shot one for scoring, which was that first shot, and then I shot one for hunting. So of course, you know, with an animal, and I'll throw a picture up here on the screen, you usually want to be lower 1/3 straight up the leg. Bears are a little bit different compared to a whitetail or an antelope or an elk. In terms of the shot placement angle, but that first one's inside out 11. That's 4 out of 5 targets right now. I picked really well. But anyhow, let's go back to the thumb. So when it comes to anchoring with the thumb, you notice obviously you have to have a particular position on your jaw. Now this peep height is not set up right for me. I'm gonna anchor with this as I would normally if the peep was set correctly. I'd put this up against my jaw here, and the top of my index finger would go right on the underside of my jaw. So the peep's a little bit high. That allows the string to come right up underneath my nose, and then allows me to activate the thumb. And I like to activate a thumb button much like I would activate a hinge release, meaning that I'm going to rotate here with my index and ring finger. I'm going to loosen up with my index finger, and I'm going to just leave my thumb where it is, and I'm going to basically move the release into the thumb. You can activate it by pulling with the thumb. I find though that just like with an index style release, it'll lead to target panic. So let's actually kind of show that a little bit in action here. It's really hard to see, obviously. I'm going to rotate with these 2 fingers, relax my index, and leave my thumb stagnant. Perfect. That's exactly a little bit right, but perfect height-wise, exactly where I wanted it to go. So it's this, and I'm leaving my thumb. Now, obviously, you're gonna have to squeeze your thumb a little bit because this peg does have to move back. But if it's all thumb pressure, I don't like that movement. I like the movement of a hinge style. And when we get to the next target, I'll pull up the hinge. You can shoot a thumb button, any type of thumb button. Some have real big barrels. I like a smaller barrel on a thumb. I don't like a big meaty thing. I just like to have it be more like a hinge style peg, which is what I prefer and more used to. It's like I said, this is a Scott Pursuit, probably my favorite thumb button that I've ever used. It's real small. It feels like a hinge release, except obviously you don't use the thumb peg to draw it because you'd set an arrow down range. Let's go pick up that arrow, and let's head to target number 6 and talk about a hinge. All right, target number 6, we got a mountain lion. Back legs are up, front legs are down. I usually don't range mountain lions very well. Anyhow, let's talk hinge releases. So this is a Scott Ascent, probably one of the better built, in my opinion, hinge releases on the market. It's got 2 moons, so I can adjust the time to click and click to fire. There's a lot of intricacies with a hinge that you don't have with an index style and definitely don't have with a thumb button. You can get a really highly adjustable thumb button that'll adjust the travel of the thumb as you work it. This hinge style, you can adjust the travel to the click and then the travel from the click to the fire, which I really, really like. So unlike a thumb button hinge, you have to use the thumb peg to draw. Some guys, the real pros, they don't, but it's all basically in your index finger and your thumb. So you're drawing all of the bow poundage with 2 fingers, okay? If you start pulling with your ring finger and your middle finger, this is a 3-finger style release. Even if you had a 4 with your pinky, if you start pulling with these 2, it's gonna set it off and you're gonna send an arrow clear off into the ether of nothing. So let's see that real quick. I'm literally drawing this entire bow weight with my thumb and my index finger, right? So that's 60 pounds, right? So if you're not used to drawing a bow and you want to start shooting a hinge, definitely shoot a light poundage. Let's take a shot. Perfect shot. I think it's actually an 11. Anyhow, how this works is the same thing right now. Obviously the peep is not set, so I had to move my face up. So let me draw and actually anchor like I would if the peep was set for this release. And this is very important. If you're gonna switch between bows, you're gonna switch between releases, your peep's gotta change. That of course changes your sight and a whole bunch of things. So keep that in mind. Here's how I would anchor with this bow, with this hinge. Again, just like the thumb, the peep's real high for how I would anchor here. I'd put that index finger joint and knuckle, this top part right here, that goes right here on the back side of my jaw, that brings the string up with very, very, very light face pressure, if not even any face pressure at all. Tip of the nose on the string, lines everything up perfectly, and then I'm able to execute a nice clean release. Let's do another one here. Same deal. Now I put that one a little bit more forward. So let's actually zoom the camera down here. Hopefully I can show you what I'm talking about. You can see the right shot there is probably in, it might even be a little bit right now, I'm zooming in, but it's definitely close to the 11. Then that second shot is a little bit more forward. I put it a little bit higher than I wanted. I wanted it to be a little bit lower, down closer to the elbow. But again, this comes to the whole 3D, whether it's forward, whether it's backwards, hunting, not hunting. But again, you know, talking about the hinge release, you heard the click of the hinge, right? And sorry, you're probably gonna see my butt on camera, but yeah, you'll be fine. You heard me with the click of the hinge release. And I like to shoot with a click, some people don't, but I really like to shoot with a click. It just keeps everything nice and consistent for me. So that first shot was exactly where I was hoping. That is an 11. And then this one's a little bit higher and it's a 10. But anyhow, shooting with that click, the rotation, I like to get the click right as I get on target. I don't like to be on target and settling my pin float and then work through the click. I like to get to the click as soon as I get on target and then start executing the shot. So I run my front half pretty hot, so I get there pretty quick, and then I run the back half pretty cold. So that's just something to keep in mind. And look how far that thing looks away on camera. Now granted, 33 yards, but when you're in the woods, it actually looking at it looks a little bit different. Let's go to the next target. All right, so we're here at target number 7. It's a bobcat, so it's a little bit smaller, so I always add a few yards onto these ones, because for some reason, even if they're smaller size, they always look way closer. So this one's probably pushing 30 here, position where it's at. Maybe 26, 27, somewhere in between there, so maybe I'll shoot it for 28. Regardless, let me get back to the whole hinge and thumb buttons here. So this is, like I said, a Scott Ascent, has the 2 moons. It's stainless steel, it's up there in the price point, but hinges are not cheap. And they are meant for target archery, and they're built like tanks. So this is stainless steel. You can get aluminum ones, you can get brass ones, you can get anodized ones. I personally like a hinge with a click. We'll talk about this for a minute. I like a hinge with a click. Some guys don't like to shoot with a click, and that's pros and amateurs alike. They like just to get back there and just work through the shot, and then all of a sudden it goes off. I like to have the click there because there are times where you get lazy, you're just practicing, you come back to full draw and the click happens automatically, and you're not even on sight yet, you're not even in your peep, and you know, oh crap, I need to make an adjustment so I don't accidentally set this thing off when I'm still, you know, coming and settling in on target. So I like to have the click there. And one of the way I set it, like I said, with the Scott Ascent, is 2 moons, so I can set the click length and I can set the click to fire length. So like I said, I set that click length very hot. So I know when I come up on target and I first immediately settle my pin, before I even start my pin float and start my shot execution, I'll get, and there's the click right there. So there's never a point where I'm like, yes, I'm here, I'm settled, click, and then I just have that moment of shock. And you'll see some guys like Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies down in Australia hates the click for that exact reason. Every time it goes off, it freaks him out a little bit. Even though he knows the bow's not gonna shoot, that's just how his brain works. So if you're going to play with a hinge, I strongly recommend, if your local shop will let you try one out, shoot it with a click, without a click, and see how it goes. The biggest one in terms of getting used to a hinge, a lot of manufacturers make a hinge release with a safety. So you hold down a safety button with your thumb, and that means no matter how much this head pivots and how it rotates, it cannot fire. When you get the full draw, you let go of the safety and then you execute the shot. I've never used one with a safety, and the whole reason why is so that we don't accidentally half rotate when you're like here and punch yourself in the face, chip a tooth, do something nasty like that, or let go of the release, or just all sorts of terrible things can happen. Definitely good to practice with a hinge, you know, with some elastic bands and some paracord, just to get used to drawing a bow with just your thumb and index finger, particularly if you're shooting 50, 60, 70 pounds. So some manufacturers, like I said, make them with a safety. I've never shot them with a safety. I'm not saying that to brag, but I'm just saying that that's just, I was fine. I took to a hinge like a fish to water. When it came to a thumb button though, and I said this earlier, I'm not a thumb button guy. Because I shoot a fair amount of hinge for everything but hunting, I would never hunt with a hinge release. Some people do. I would never do it myself personally. Because the build is exactly the same, right? You got a thumb peg, it's offset, you got the jaws and everything. Because the build's exactly the same, there have been several times where I've gone with a thumb release and I've gotten started and I just put my thumb up on the thumb barrel and I get like 4 inches into the draw length and I send an arrow 15, 20 yards down range because I hit the thumb and it's set off and activated the release. If you're gonna shoot a thumb button compared to a hinge in particular, I would just shoot a thumb button. I wouldn't squirrel around with other releases at one time. Shooting a thumb button and getting used to that is very important. In particular, if you're going to try to flip-flop between thumb and hinge, I would just shoot the thumb. If you really want to shoot a handheld style release and you're really torn between the thumb or the hinge, I would just shoot the thumb. Because then when you go, if you do shoot a wrist strap release style index finger like I do for hunting, it's a much easier, cleaner transition because it's totally different. It's totally new. If you're trying to go between all 3 release types, you're going to do something silly. I've done it before. Like I said, I've sent some thumb button arrows downrange before prematurely when I didn't want to. So I'm going to take a shot here with the old hinge again. And again, you can listen for the click as I come up and actually get to anchor here. Let's see here. I said, what, this Bobcat Lynx thing, it's crouched, it looks small. I'm going to say it's close to 20. I'm going to say 27. That's what I'm going to go with here, 27. It's not. Okay, I was a little bit hot. It's 25. So that's okay. With the 3D bow, I would be all right with my 3D setup. With my hunting rig here, though, pretty slow bow. So let's see if I can stick one in the 12 ring, and then let's see if I can stick one, or in the 11 ring. This is an IBO target. Stick one in the 11 ring, and then see if I can stick one in the area where I would want to shoot this thing if I was actually trying to harvest this animal. So let's take a shot here. 25. Got to split my 20 and 30. So go ahead and listen for the click. Right as I come up on target, right here. There it is. Maybe put it a little bit right, but it's definitely close to that 11 ring. Now I'm going to aim for that lower 1/3. It's in that crouch position, so its elbow's coming up. So I'm going to take that shot right at where the elbow kind of meets the body there, because it would be dipping maybe even a little bit lower. Let's go down and actually look here at this lynx and see what we got. All right, so I was a little bit more right on both of them than I thought. So this one ended up being a 10 here. This is my first shot. So it was good height-wise here, but I was just a little bit right. And then here I was definitely still more right, but I was closer to that straight up the leg, lower 1/3, which is what I want to be for that hunting shot. So I just came up here back to my index style release aid, so that way I can actually get through the course a lot faster without flipping back and forth. Just took a shot at a doe here, 20, I ballparked 25, ends up being about 26 yards. One real quick thing about the shooting a handheld style release, either a thumb or a hinge, got to watch out for the size. If you can, go to your local shop and see if they will let you try a different size. I'm 6'4", I got relatively large hands, and mediums still fit me okay. So my guess is that mediums will fit the vast majority of you dudes out there. If it can fit me, it'll fit you. Let's go down and look at this deer. Okay, I have to show you this because I've been going around today shooting this course. It's pretty slow today, but I'm trying to move quick so I don't dilly-dally. I'm shooting 2 arrows almost at every target, and here's why. If you look here, that first arrow on the left, that's the hunting shot you want. That would score as an 8, right? This guy right here. This guy right here is in the 11 ring. That is not the shot you want. That shot right there, if you look at if you go over top here, think about these 2 shots here as they exit the animal. This back one's gonna go maybe 1 lung, liver, guts, exit. This one here is gonna go heart, or excuse me, lung, maybe liver, and then exit. So this is a pretty steep cording 2 shot. I would not recommend a steep cording 2 shot like this, but it's a very important thing to note. I shot an 11, and that's all well and good, and that's great to practice and shoot around with your buddies and, you know, play for score. But when you're playing for keeps in the woods, you gotta think about that exit hole. You have to. Where is that exit hole on that animal that you want, and make that shot happen. Big old broadside deer down here, and it's a poke. Well over 30. I probably would never take this shot actually in the woods. I'm gonna say at this angle, he's pushing 35, maybe even like 37 yards. Let's see how wrong I am here. Oh no, I was dead nuts on, 35. All right, so 35 is about as far as I'll shoot at a deer. And again, it's so important. The further they get out, remember, the lower you have to aim, and the closer they get in, the higher you have to aim because the angle, right, going down exit. I'm up pretty high, I'm on this embankment. He's down in the creek bottom. And more importantly, 35 yards, relatively heavier, slower setup. I'm gonna really aim for the lower 1/3 on this critter. 35. Yep, that was even maybe a touch higher than I normally would. That's almost to the scoring rings there. I don't want to be up that high, but that's a real good shot in general. That one's a little bit lower, maybe a little bit more to the right. Good shots all around there, but 35 yards is a poke. I don't know if you can hear how long it takes that arrow to get to the target, but how loud your bow is and how easily that deer can pick up that sound, you're gonna be in a world of hurt. So again, straight up the leg, lower 1/3, go closer to the V, where the scapula comes down and meets the knuckle to go down to the leg. Keep her in there and you'll be in business. Just pull my arrows, I'm kicking myself. I've been usually shooting, that first shot was perfect. Right in the V, great exit hole, would have caught both lungs. If he ducked into it, would have definitely gone high in the lungs, but still skewered both. Perfect broadside like that. The further an animal gets away, the less and less inclined I am to do quartering 2 in particular, and quartering away shots. Because if they start to turn, which they will, you'll be up the creek without a paddle, and you could have a really, really bad shot situation. You know, have entrance and exit and guts. All that sort of. Oh, we got a real nice shot coming up here on a feeding buck. Nice broadside, good practice. But my second shot, which I've been shooting for score, ended up actually being an inside at 11. So that's pretty good. I'll take that shot on a 35-yard target all day. All right, now we got a Wolverine here. He's not too far, maybe 22, 23. I like shooting at Wolverines though, and anything that kind of resembles a deer. Well, that's real blown out, isn't it? I like shooting at Wolverines and anything else that resembles a deer because you can still kind of go straight at the leg, lower 1/3. Yep, 22, 23, and I got a 22 and a 23. So this is cool. I haven't shot this range in a while. I shot it several weeks back with Nate, but they've changed their targets. They've changed distances. So I'm feeling good about my numbers here. So let's shoot this here for, we'll shoot it for score first. That might be a little low, but it's pretty close to in there. And actually, I'm not even gonna shoot a second arrow at it for time's sake, but also because that first shot's like right in there. So we'll see what she looks like. Oh yeah, I'd say that sucker's right in there. Good shot for score. That's almost an inside out. Actually, it is an inside out. No, I think it wouldn't be. But still, it's a great 11 right there. Shooting really well today. Shot 1.8 so far. Trying to shoot my arrows for score first and then shoot the one for hunting second. I keep flip-flopping back and forth. Need to stop doing that. Just classic deer hunting shot here, right? I'm gonna say it's pushing 30. Might even be like a 33 or 32. 34, so I was right with 33. Although 32 wouldn't be a half bad shot to take here if I wasn't ranging the animal beforehand. Always good to try to do that. Let's see 34 here. We'll shoot one for score first. Might be a little bit to the right, but height-wise it's real good. Now let's shoot for the kill. Straight at the leg, lower 1/3, particularly at this distance. Yep, that's exactly where I want that. That is exact. It looks like it's real forward, but remember, the front part of that shoulder is really a V, and that actually ends up being a really good shot, and particularly if they duck into that a little bit. It's a real good shot. Yep, that is a perfect shot at second shot. First shot here, I'm just out of the 11. I'm a little bit low, but left-right was dead nuts perfect. And this shot right here, this deer is bound to drop, right? So it looks like I'm gonna smack him. Remember, the elbow would be like right in here, scapula comes up here. That's not a half bad shot there at 20 yards, but at 35, I'm taking that shot right there and letting him duck into that a little bit. And particularly if you're out of a tree stand, you have to understand, you know, when they're at that distance and, you know, you're up a little bit, the trajectory and the angle of that arrow, if you make a shot that's too high, you might catch top of one lung, or excuse me, the top of the second lung, miss the first lung, and you're up the creek without a paddle. As a side note here, if you are shooting a 3D course and you're just shooting for fun, don't hesitate to skip the targets you don't care about. There was a fish and an alligator back there. Sure, I paid to shoot the course, but I have no desire to shoot those targets. We have a third-sized elk out here. It's about the size of a whitetail fawn. And I'm gonna say it looks to be a little bit over 20, maybe 24. I'm gonna say on the long side. 24, 25, so I'm even a little bit short on that. So we'll go first for score. I think I'm a little bit low for score. It's actually almost more like a hunting shot there, and I can move a little bit forward, straight up the leg, lower 1/3. I'm pretty much joined at left-right, but it's a little bit lower. So I think I missed out of the scoring ring on the top shot, but the bottom shot is perfect for what I want. Maybe I'll surprise myself. Oh, no, I did surprise myself. Got a edge of the 11 there, and then we're in the 10, but lower, and actually a little bit more left, which is even perfect because this third elk was facing to the left. So going closer to that shoulder blade, never a problem. I love this stuff. I could do this the rest of my life. All right, we got a bedded slob down here. Now, I would never shoot at a bedded deer, at least not here in Pennsylvania. I wouldn't. We got a big old tank. Sorry for the shaky camera work. You're just gonna have to deal with it. Big old tank of whitetail. And I would never shoot at a bedded deer, but this is the type of shot I like to take. Standing in the sun, shooting into the shade, and vice versa. Get used to this type of stuff. If you can, you know, if the course isn't crowded and the course allows you to do it, take shots, you know, not from the stake. That'll make it more difficult. It's a lot of fun. That's a healthy 11 there. Very nice. Oh. Anyhow, so we got a whitetail uphill shot here. I just shot 2 targets and skipped one. I shot a panther and a boar looking thing, a big, you know, pig. And those I didn't use the rangefinder because, you know, when you get to this kind of part of the course, I like to kind of start judging distance. I picked perfect numbers on both of them. Both were 11s. So here, I'm gonna try the same. Now this one's uphill. When you're uphill or downhill, tree stand or out west, you got to shave off some yardage. So I'm thinking this is a solid 33, 34 yard shot. Solid. I'm gonna shoot it for 32 and see what happens. Just a little bit left, but height was perfect. So it's a 10. It's a 10. but height was really good. Just pushed it left. Trying to hustle up here. I'm one of the last people, if not the last person on the course today. Although I'm here in the appropriate window, I feel bad for the guys, so rushing around here a little bit. But again, real quick there. So I was thinking probably 34 yards for that broadside buck. And I wish I should have showed it on camera. That was my fault. But anyhow, 34 yards. But when you're uphill like that, pretty steep angle, probably about a good 10 degree angle at least, you got to shave off a yard or two. And I shaved off 2 for the distance. Shot at 32 and I was perfect height-wise. And see what we got going up here. Oh, we got a turkey. I'll shoot the turkey. I like shooting turkeys. Let's see where we're at. Now this one here plays uphill, but I'm pretty daggum tall. And oh, that's right behind that tree there. And to make matters worse, I am also a little bit elevated. So let's see, usually that 12 ring, 11 rings right in that crease. And actually, since I'm almost eyeball level with him, I'm not gonna shave off any distance here. Let's see. I'm guesstimating, I'm gonna say he's a healthy 30, maybe a touch under here. I actually, just because of the angle of this shot and that tree behind it, I'm just gonna range it just to make sure. Yep. 28. So I was thinking 30, a little bit short, so I've been a little bit high, but we'll hold 30 low or pin, or yeah, gap it a little bit. Still a touch high. That's my fault. Still a good shot though. Let's see, how high are we? Yeah, we're in the 8. That's all right though. We're definitely in the core line. Our left-right was perfect, but these turkeys are so daggum small, these scoring rings. We were only about 2.5 inches away from the center of the 11, but we were already out of the 10. So, truck coming by here. Let's see what 23. Oh, we got a coyote. Good old yote down there. There he is. There's the bugger. He's a poke too. Ooh boy. He's almost 40. I don't know. I'm gonna say 38. Let's see what we got. All right, 37, not bad. I got 2 37s and 1 36. I'm gonna say he's 37. We'll hold 40 low. We're going for scoring here. I still think we're a little bit high. Interesting. I held 40 to the bottom of his core line there. Let's go for the shot, kill shot here. There we go. That second shot was perfect. That's the kill shot you want right there. Nice and low. That second one's up high. It might be in the 10 ring, but it went up a lot higher than I thought it would. I have no idea if the microphone can pick me up at this distance. Oh, it's not as high as I thought. It's just left. Okay. That second shot's perfect. Yep, we're just left on that first shot. It's okay. Height was perfect. Good height there. Hammer down at the bottom of the insert line. Here's the 11. So 10 and an 8, but that second shot was exactly where you want it. Straight at the back side of that leg there, lower 1/3. If you're shooting mechanical, I wouldn't go straight up the leg. I'd go straight behind the leg. Shooting fixed blade though, with good integrity, I'd take that straight up the leg, lower 1/3 all day. Although I will tell you, if you're actually going to shoot at a coyote, I would not shoot at a coyote at 37 yards. Unless you really hate coyotes. Because if you're going to take a poke at a yote, and he's that far away, by the time you release that arrow with a standard hunting setup, he's going to turn around, make a cup of coffee, eat a sandwich, and still have time to duck your arrow. So shoot a little bit closer. So that's all for this video. If you have any questions about shooting a thumb button or shooting a hinge, follow the links in the description below. Hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, send me an email, and yeah, you can always leave a comment here on YouTube. I'll be able to get outside, enjoy the sport of archery hunting if you so choose. Definitely enjoy God's beautiful sunshiny creation, and we'll get to see you next time.